Ryan Ham here, and what I've got here is kind of a cross section of different operating mechanisms and a dowel. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate the Remington Model 51 and the same operating mechanism as the brand new and very exciting Remington R51. I'm going to demonstrate that the Remington R51 is a locked breech gun. Now, some of these you might be familiar with, some of them you might not be familiar with. It's a Makarov, I'm sorry, not a Makarov, a CZ82, which is 9mm Makarov caliber. We've got the H&K P9, Benelli B82, B80, I'm sorry, the B80, B76, B80, B82, there's a few other guns in that class. It's a lever delayed blowback, but I'll explain that in a minute. And your standard Glock, which is your recoil operated tilting barrel design. Okay, and if you've never seen one, it's a Winchester Model 50, also a blowback design. It is a what they call a floating chamber design, and I hope I can take that apart and kind of demonstrate what it does. So first up, straight blowback. We have the CZ82. It is straight blowback, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate the dowel is going to be is going to simulate the pressure of the fired cartridge, or the cartridge going off. And let me get a pressure application device so I don't hurt myself here. Hopefully I won't hurt my guns doing it. Okay, so if you see, I could push directly as the bullet would, or as the cartridge would on the face of the bolt, and the slide goes back. So pure, simple blowback. That's exactly how it operates. If you imagine this being the pressure that the case exerts on the face of the slide or bolt face, that is how a straight blowback works. I'm going to go ahead and clear these guns as I demonstrate them to you. Okay, so that's straight blowback. You should be familiar with that. Now I'll demonstrate the tilting barrel mechanism. It is empty. I'll get the magazines out. Should have taken the magazines out of all these. So empty, clear. All right, so now we have the Glock Model 30 SF. Just a straight tilting barrel mechanism, and with pressure exerted, the gun opens, and you can see the barrel tilts to unlock. No magic there. You should all be familiar with how that works. Now, we'll get into something a little less familiar. That's a H&K P9, and I'm hoping I've got enough dowel to do this. Take the magazine out of that heel magazine release. H&K P9S. Empty. Okay, this is roller delayed blowback, just like an H&K MP5, G3, those type of guns. So you can see it exerted just a little bit extra pressure to open it, but I could still open it by pushing forward briskly on the rod there. Now, of course, it does take a little bit of spring pressure to get it to go closed. That's the roller delayed blowback. I'll clear my Model B80. There we go. Empty. Okay, so watching this go back, you can see this one has a fixed barrel. The blowback operated gun also had a fixed barrel. So if this has a fixed barrel and it's still in a large caliber, It's a little more difficult to push, but I could still push it back. No real problems there, I guess. Lever delayed blowback. And finally, I'll blow your mind here, if you haven't already seen this done. Empty. Watch this. Do it again. I'm not cheating. There is no way that I'm going to be able to push that with enough force to get it to open. There's no way it'll open. Why? It's a locked breech gun. Now, you've heard about the Remington Model R51. Hopefully that's why you're here. The R51 is identical in the operating principle as this. It is locked breech. The power of the cartridge pushes the gun back, pushes the slide back like that far. Now during that initial shove, the firearm is operating in blowback mode. So that initial energy that's given just to the slide, the barrel isn't moving. Look at the barrel is fixed. There we go, fixed barrel. The slide's moving, but that little itty bitty movement there is what is causing the slide to gain enough velocity that it will continue to the rear and extract a cartridge and continue with the operating cycle. Notice the barrel remains fixed through the whole thing. If you look, you should be able to see the fact that the bolt, as I'm pulling back on the slide, the bolt stops right about there, and then the slide continues. And I don't know if you could tell, but it's actually tilting the bolt down in the back. Locked breech. What that means is that there's enough pressure in just that little bit to operate the entire cycle, but the gun is locked at that point while the slide continues back just a little bit more, and then it's able to open. So blowback, slide continues back. Okay, let's see if I can do this. Blowback, slide continues back until right about there, and then it continues with its operation. Blowback, slide continues, and then it continues its operation. Because it's not recoil operated, the mass of only the slide and the bolt is what's flying backwards. Now, the mass of the slide is very little, not including the barrel. On the Glock, the mass of the barrel, because the barrel moves, demonstrate that again, the barrel moves, so the mass of the barrel gets added to the recoil velocity that's gained in the initial phase. Since the barrel moves and it stops right there, that little movement and stopping of the barrel transmits recoil energy that you wouldn't normally have by that chunk of metal slapping against the shoulder, this metal piece that's held in by these two pins inside of the gun. Now, the Winchester works on a different principle. There's actually a sleeve inside the barrel. The chamber is a separate part from the barrel itself, and the sleeve will go back with the bolt, and it will basically give energy to the bolt without the barrel itself having to move, and without there having to be a gas piston inside. There's other videos describing that. I'll probably describe it in a future video myself, but it's a different operating principle. The basis is fixed barrel, fixed barrel, fixed barrel, fixed barrel. But the H&K and the recoil operated gun, the Glock here, both have movable barrels. This will have more recoil energy transmitted to you, the user, than an equivalent gun that has a fixed barrel, like the R51 or the Remington Model 51 that I have here, or like the B80. I hope this illustrated a few things. If it asked more questions than it answered, I apologize. Just ask in the description. Ask your question and I'll try and answer it. This is Ryan Ham. If you like this video, if you found it informative or confusing, like, favorite, subscribe, share. If you did find it confusing, you want me to answer more questions, I can. Just comment down below and ask me, and I'll try and figure it out for you. Again, this is Ryan Ham. Goodbye.